Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Million Dollar Failure, Why Homes Don't Sell, and How to Fix It. These are real stories, real fails, and real solutions. And now, here are your hosts, Jeremy and Nicole.
And we're back with Million Dollar Failure. Once again, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jeremy.
And today, John will be joining us, sharing his experience.
I believe an experience from Tennessee.
I know. And so he's been in Grant. He's been living here. I actually know John socially. I've been out fishing with him.
I understand that he has a wonderful charter business that he's going to talk about.
He does. We went out and I caught a bunch of snapper.
Nice.
There was a baby swordfish.
Oh, you threw that back though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. But he's a blast. And it was so kind of him to come on and share it. And it gave us a little bit more insight from another market, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I know it's been some time, but to take those concepts and apply them to now.
And his listing has a little bit of a twist to it. It's not your typical listing, right?
Right.
All right.
So now here's John.
Let's get into it.
All right. So we are here with our guest. This is John. We're so happy to have him in the studio today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Welcome.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and pretty much grew up most of my life in Florida. I've lived in Utah and other parts of Florida, including Jacksonville, and live in Grant. I run a fishing company down here, a charter fishing company, and stay busy with that. I have a whole pile of kids that all across the country.
A pile of kids.
Yeah.
What's the name of your fishing charter?
Southeast Viking Fishing Company.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we specialize in deep drop and trolling and going after pelagics out of the Sebastian Inlet.
Awesome.
It's so exciting. I love that.
Absolutely. And what's the best way people can get a hold of you?
My website, southeastfishing.com.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Little shout out.
I know. We got to do it. And how long have you been here?
Southeastvikingfishing.com.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
I'll put it down there. That works.
Perfect.
And so how long have you been in the Grant area now?
We've lived in Grant since 2013.
Okay.
So a little over, 12 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what brought you to the area?
My job. I got a transfer from out in Utah to here. I work for the government and the defense industry.
Oh, okay, cool. We have so many people in the area, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here for, $1 million failure, listings that didn't sell, and you had a listing that didn't sell.
That's correct.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how that went down and that situation.
Okay, so we were living in Tennessee, and we had a house there that we purchased in, I think, 2008. And then in 2010, we moved out to Utah, and the market was pretty soft. So we decided to hang on to it and put it for rent. And I found an agent who worked in the area and specialized in doing rental properties. So we gave him our home to manage while we were living in Utah. And then after about 2.5 years living out there, I got a transfer with my work back to Florida. So we made a decision that we wanted to sell both of our homes, the one that we had in Tennessee as well as the one we had in Utah. Actually, I think we listed a little bit before they moved out. So once they moved out, we had it listed and we just kept our same agent. Seemed to make sense. He knew the property. We've been working with him for years now. Seemed like a good bet. I communicated with him and he asked, what do you want to do with the property? I was like, well, let's just make sure, it's clean, it's in good repair and everything's on the up and up. So, we have our best chance to sell the home quickly. I conveyed that. He said that he understood what he wanted to do. And we kind of went from there. We came up, he did some market analysis, came up with some pricing. It was competitive. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So we got it listed. And then after about 2.5, 3 months, we hadn't got any bites, and I was communicating with him and he was like, maybe we should lower the price a little bit. So I agreed to that. And then I think at about the 4-month mark, we still we had a couple lowball offers, but nothing serious. So I had a business trip that I was going to be going into town there. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to swing by and just check out the property and everything while I'm here. And when I did, I discovered the reasons that I believe that the property was not moving.
Just popping in.
Yeah.
Just a quick little surprise visit.
Yeah. Did the pop in on and the house was in disrepair.
All right. So you open the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
I open the door. I go in. Immediately, I'm hit in the face with the smell of dog. So it was like, oh, that's great. And then it had hardwood floors throughout most of the house, and there was a lot of scratches and things on the floors from the dogs. And I knew they had dogs, but part of my communication to him initially was, let's get the house in good repair. Let's take care of whatever needs to be fixed. So see the hardwood floors, go upstairs where there's carpeting, and the carpets are trash, need to be replaced. So it's like, we need to get that done. And then in the kitchen, there was some issues with cabinet doors. I believe there was some handles missing off some of the cabinets. The microwave door was actually falling off.
And none of this was built into the price. In other words, you decided on a competitive price originally.
Right.
This wasn't discussed.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So those were, and there was some screens that were torn out in the back patio. So it was all stuff that I thought, these are simple repairs that should have been taken care of initially. And back then, I don't know if it was the time frame or just the lack of effort on the realtor's part for good pictures, because none of the online pictures showed any of you couldn't tell that these damages were there, and obviously you couldn't smell it. So, I was pretty disgusted. I was very upset.
I bet. Yeah.
To see this house that, you bought and invested in, and you just walk in and just see what it's, become.
Well, it's interesting. The professional pictures he used, do you think they were taken for the rental purposes and just reused for the resale, or did he take new pictures? Do you recall?
I believe he took new pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they were new pictures.
Okay. Fair
Because I don't know if there were any pictures initially when we rented.
For the rental.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, that was a problem, I guess. But so I contacted him and I was like, yo, what's up? Why is our house? and he was like, I don't understand. I didn't want to, invest a lot of money in it because I knew you were selling it and you want to get everything out of it. I'm like, but I needed it to sell sooner rather than later because I'm still spending thousands of dollars a month on the mortgage. So after having the conversation with him and being disgusted, I decided to contact his broker, and I talked to her, and she put me in touch with another realtor within her firm. And I expressed to her, I said, I've seen the house. I know what needs to be done. I accept some responsibility in the fact that I probably should have went to the house myself to, take a personal inventory of what was going on. But I thought that, he and I were on the same page.
Well, and you should have been able to rely on him, in all honesty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I figured he's my eyes and ears. He knows how to move the house. He knows what I want to get out of it, when I want it to move. He should be able to put those things together. Yeah.
So you spoke to his broker, and she put you in touch with another agent within her office.
That is correct.
Okay. And so what happened from there?
So I got the new agent and I told her what I wanted done, and she said, okay. And she coordinated the contractors that we needed, took care of the repairs that I wanted. She sent me pictures to verify it. And then after that, we got it relisted. I think we pulled it off the market, got the repairs done, and then relisted it. And then within a month or two, we had it, we had a contract on it and sold it.
Imagine that. I find it impressive that you were willing to stay with the same brokerage and give them another shot. That was, that's kind of impressive that you gave them that chance, that you had the wherewithal to listen to the broker.
Did they offer you any type of concessions? Did they do the repairs on your behalf out of their own pocket? Did they offer anything?
No, we didn't get any of that. I went in there and was like, I don't know how aware the broker was of what was going on. Cause to me, it was like the house is listed, everything's going fine. And then when I found out it wasn't, then it kind of blew it up.
Yeah.
So when I went to her, she was very responsive and receptive to my concerns.
Yeah.
And she got it taken care of. So I was happy in the end, but
Yeah.
initially it was like, well, glad I didn't wait longer till I went and looked at it.
So approximately
Absolutely.
how many months from the time you listed it for sale to the time it closed?
I want to say it was about 6 months.
6 months.
He had it about 4.
So he cost you 4 months.
Yeah, then we had some
mortgages.
Mm.
Yep.
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 Yeah. So it
Okay.
would have been nice to have it all taken care of up front.
Right.
I know.
Absolutely.
So it went really well with the second agent. You felt like you had good communication. What did they do well with, keeping you informed about everything?
She took notes on everything I wanted done. She got bids from contractors and then coordinated getting the work done for me.
Yeah.
On behalf of me.
Mhm.
And then verified that it was done correctly and then sent me pictures, She went to the house like, yeah, it smells a lot better now the carpets are replaced. So she did some walkthroughs on the phone with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just was more attentive.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sounds super professional, like
Sure.
someone that full-time, engaged, responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there anything that you would recommend to future sellers or anything that, I know you have the takeaway, put eyes on your property.
Yeah. And I understand that's not always possible.
Yeah.
So I guess what you need to do is just make sure you have good communication with them and verify that they understand what you're, asking them to do. And if it's like, well, that's weird, the property's perfect. After people have been living in it for 2 years or renting it, maybe that should set off some red flags.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for coming in. Cool. All right. So, Nicole, John was an awesome guest.
John was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he came in.
So he had the experience of trying to sell a home from out of town, which previously had tenants in it. And he did not have the opportunity to view the home before it went up for sale. He put a lot of faith, actually 100% faith, into the agent that he hired, who is the same agent that helped him rent it out, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then things started to go wrong. And so now we're going to talk about, what went wrong and what could have gone differently,
What
right?
could have been done better. Or just our takeaways,
Mhm.
because that's a different market. It was a different time. How does that apply to where we're at? And in Florida, we have a lot of absentee owners.
Yes.
We've both helped people buy and sell remotely, especially during COVID.
Yes.
So that was a whole thing. And I became an agent during that time. And I learned very early on the importance of honesty.
Yes.
Because when somebody's going to show up, they're going to smell the dog. They're going to see the microwave handle.
They're going to see the damage to the floor from the dogs, the carpet that got tore up, the scratches in the floor. So I had a similar situation where I was hired I was hired to sell a home in Sebastian by a gentleman that was in Colorado. And so one of the first things we did was we did a video of what the whole place looked like and what needed to be done. And just as John ended up getting a second agent that was able to find vendors, that's exactly what I did, got things repaired, and we sold it.
Right.
So,
and sometimes we do that because it's beyond opening doors.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we are connectors to the local vendors.
Absolutely. What's interesting is the photographs, right? Because John received photographs from the agent and it looked great. So
they were strategic.
Yeah. So either they were taken very strategically or there was some virtual staging happening. And virtual staging doesn't necessarily mean just furniture being put in, but it can also be cleaning up paint, flooring, mismatches, whatever the case may be. So it's interesting that he was, for lack of a better term, maybe I shouldn't use fooled.
No.
But it wasn't a proper photograph of what the condition of the home was.
They phoned it in.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't, when your seller tells you, I want to fix the property, tell me what's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what's wrong.
Yeah.
Why would you, they just assumed this awesome house is going to sell. No, especially when you're hit in the face, like he said, with the stench of dog.
And, hey, kudos to the broker, right? She saved this deal not only for her people or for her agency, right? Because at the end of the day, the broker does get a cut of the sale, but she helped him out by getting it sold, I guess, within 2 months. It was on the market for 4. Right. It took a total of 6. They sold it within 2 months once she assigned the property to another agent to take care of everything. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
She listened.
And a lot of times we've seen brokers just, well, look, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Maybe it's best that you move on to another agency.
Yeah.
But good for her that that occurred.
They'll double down or not admit fault. No, she heard him. She fixed it. She matched him up with an agent that could get it done. And that agent did. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is, so he chose not to sell it with the tenant in place.
Right.
Pros and cons.
Absolutely. So I have a situation right now where I have one owner that has 2 condominiums. There are tenants in there. And it's been challenging to get showings. We're getting calls all the time to see these homes. And the tenants have lives, right? They have children, they have jobs. Right. And it's just difficult. We've had one situation where the one tenant wants their privacy and they will not allow photographs. And the owner is not willing to force the issue. She does not want to upset the tenant. Understandable. These are all decisions that the owners make, that the tenants make, and it is what it is. But that's one example that can occur. You might have a listing where you can't even get photographs.
Oh my!
When you have a tenant, and it's tough.
No, and there's also like the benefit where we have the investment properties. Maybe it's a duplex or more, triplex, Airbnb, where you've already got leases in place.
Yeah.
I've had a buyer who bought actually is a co-op. It's one of the only co-ops down in Vero Beach.
Interesting.
And there was several leases in place. And so that was a benefit to them. They weren't going to be here all the time. And when they, purchased it, they knew they were going to have $12,000 in income immediately.
Yeah.
But the showings are always difficult. I think I told you. I was showing people in a place called Ocean Village down Hutchinson Island.
Okay.
And those are known for renters and for vacation rentals. And the people, they're paying top dollar. This is like a resort style community.
Right.
So they're paying top dollar. They hate being disturbed.
Sure.
I can't even tell you this. This is bad.
Right.
We walk in and when we open the door, the guy's kind of laughing, walks out. He literally took a dump on purpose. Right before our showing.
Wow.
There's a con for you.
Wow. That's horrible.
It was terrible. My poor buyers, they were appalled.
That's horrible.
They walked in.
I'm appalled right now. Oh, my goodness.
They walked in. The wife gagged and she was like, I don't even want to see it. Walked right out. I left it in feedback.
That's wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. I've had other tenants partake in the THC for a showing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had that.
Yeah.
So tenants are fun.
It's a real estate is a wild world, and a lot of times the agent is there to just what's the word I'm looking for? Try and keep everything sane.
Yeah, gotta roll with it.
Yeah. You have to You have to relegate or regulate. You have to do something to keep everything under control.
You just can't. You can't ever predict. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the fun part of the job. I think when people, watch our podcast, hear our podcast, they hear it in our voice, they know that we enjoy what we do. We have smiles on our faces. And I think at the end of the day, you're just trying to either bring the buyer or the seller to a place where they're happy in their world, and they're buying a home to be happy, they're selling a home to be happy, or moving on to whatever next property they want to get to.
Absolutely.
And it is upsetting to us. Like, if we can't achieve that goal at the end of the day, it's disappointing in my heart that we can't provide that service.
No, always. I'm here to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't bat 1,000%. I mean, you're going to have some losses. So,
the main thing for him, property preparation. Now, we're kind of in a would you say we're in a buyer's market?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Buyer's market.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. However you do the data.
Yes.
How important is property preparation right now?
So right now it's incredible. Over lunch, we discussed this a little bit, that buyers right now have the ability to be very picky, very choosy. They do not have to make an offer on the spot like they were a couple years ago.
No pressure.
There's absolutely no pressure. It is absolutely a buyer's market. So the condition of your home has to be as best it can ever be. That nobody wants a fixer-upper right now.
No, and if it is, they are coming in so low under asking. If it's a fixer-upper, I'm seeing, like, no, the seller may not accept it, but they're writing offers 25, 30% under asking.
One example I give is a listing I have it in the Atlantic that's under contract. It was being sold by another agent. That got canceled. They brought me in. They said, we want you to be honest. I said, well, you have a pet here somewhere.
Yes.
So we were able to get the carpets cleaned. We actually cleaned the showers a little bit.
Yep.
I
know.
Went in by myself, and I actually brought the baking soda, the vinegar, brushes, and actually scrubbed that shower myself. Right.
Well, you said they were older and they needed help.
Right. And guess what? It was under contract within a week. Getting this all done. So we fixed the smell. We got the carpets cleaned. We took care of some items that need to be taken care of. It's a beautiful home.
It's gorgeous.
But you have to take care of the conscious.
You do.
What people see,
smell,
and the subliminal as well. So there's something in retail called a decompression zone.
Okay.
So when you walk into, I don't know, name a retail store you go into.
The theaters still exist?
No. So like if you walk into, I don't care if it's a restaurant, call it Cracker Barrel, call it
Cracker Barrel.
You walk into Kohl's.
Yeah, that's better.
The first 5 steps, when you walk into any building in retail or restaurant, your senses have no idea what the hell is going on.
No, it's overwhelming.
So your body is adjusting to temperature, to light, to smells. And so the first 5 steps, you don't even pick up. And I challenge people that listen to this, next time you walk in somewhere, first 5 steps, you don't even know what you just passed through. Because your body's adjusting to all its senses and picking up on where am I, what am I doing? It's subconsciously. And so what I mean by that, when you walk into someone's home, those first 5 steps are interesting because you're not going to pick up on things around you, but within those first 5 steps afterwards, now the light's going to hit you, the smells are going to hit you, the feel, all the senses. So to your point about having your home prepared, you have to look at it from that perspective, both consciously and subliminally, what is happening to the mind as they view your home.
No, I like that. And so I've been on a listing appointment with you, and I like how you bring up these details because we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I've been on listing appointments with several different agents over my career, and you do it in a very non-threatening, non-judgmental way.
Right.
You're like, hey, this little stain over here, do you think we could get a pressure washer out?
Right.
Like it's great. Like you did with the shower.
Right. Absolutely. And one thing I'm awful at that you're really good at is colors. So I learned a long time ago with my wife, I used to argue about paint colors. And then I learned early on that I don't know anything about paint colors. And I should shut my mouth and save my marriage. So when we went into that exact same listing, I remember they kept asking about, Jeremy, what do you think about this paint color? And I'm like, you need to ask Nicole because I couldn't tell you if that's green or light green or what have you. So, everyone has their abilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
No, I think it's incredibly important right now. I did staging right before real estate. And I learned a ton. And that was incredible about color flow and room flow and how you would set up maybe your living room to live versus your living room for listing. So I know how to rearrange those, and that makes a huge difference for the way your property photographs and how people like to draw your attention towards maybe the pool or that big window with the view.
That's a very good point. It's the same thing they do in retail. There's a reason. So your body, when you enter a retail store, wants to go to the right. Everything's set up to go to the right is how retail typically works. So when you walk into homes, to your point, where do you want people's attention to be drawn to?
Mhm.
What is the focal point of this home, and how do you direct people to it, right? So there's a lot that goes into it, and it does affect how quickly you can get offers.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what we do with our photos. We could go on about this
Yeah.
forever.
So
But
we know, back to your point. So buyer's market, the condition of the home,
yes,
right?
crucial.
Crucial. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So
Yep. Listing with a rental agent. We talked a little bit about that. And again, we had this discussion over lunch as
Yes.
to some markets don't have rental agents. Others dominate in the rental portion of the industry in certain markets.
that was new to me. So I grew up in Gainesville.
Mhm.
There were, as far as I'm aware, there were not really rental agents.
Mhm.
But that's a college town.
Mhm.
You know, you go to a property manager, that's where you would get them.
Mhm.
We had websites. I know Zillow, but it's different now. Then I moved to Vero.
Mhm.
You generally need a rental agent.
Mhm.
Of course, you can find the ones on Zillow, but it's different. If you really want one,
Mhm.
you need a rental agent, and especially for seasonals.
Mhm.
Would I pick them to list my home?
Mhm.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
The two I know are great agents, though.
But I can see why John went through that, because he felt comfortable with who he has. And that's a whole other topic about feeling comfortable with your agent.
Yes.
Doesn't necessarily mean they're the best agent.
No.
A lot of times you're picking because you're comfortable with a friend.
I was just going to say that. And I heard Elizabeth was just telling a story about, it was a whole thing.
Okay. Like, we could go on for hours,
I know.
and
Well-
people will be tuning out very quickly if we did that.
But that's the thing is, I think he thought that person knew his house,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that was smart,
Mhm.
but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
It was more about that person ended up not being honest.
Mhm.
And that was the issue.
Right.
Where, I don't think it was an issue with that person being a rental agent or not.
Mhm.
So I think if you did have a rental agent
Mhm.
and they were managing your home,
Mhm.
maybe you would ask them about their track record with listings.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. Do you have experience listing homes?
Yep.
How's your feedback? How's your communication? How's your marketing? Like, you've already interviewed them as a rental agent. Now you're going to have to re-interview them as a listing agent. So it's totally fine. Use them, but interview them again.
Yeah. Great point.
That's kind of my thought on it. That's it for today's episode of $1 Million Failure. A huge thank you to John. Thank you so much for sharing his experience with us.
Yeah. And if you ever had a home that didn't sell and want to share your story, whether for advice, a second chance, or just a vent, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at $1,000,000failures, that's with an S, at gmail.com. Again, $1,000,000failures with an S at gmail.com to be considered for a future episode.
And if you're thinking about selling and you want our help to get it right the first time, email us. We are here to help.
Yep. Big shout out to Jeffrey French at Grit and Grind Studios, our producer.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Hit all of those buttons. Review us wherever you're listening, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Threads. Jeremy's on X to keep up with new episodes and behind-the-scenes content.
And if you're a brand or business interested in sponsoring the show, hit us up. Let's talk.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, once again, I am Nicole.
And I'm Jeremy.